Before you diagnose yourself with depression or low self-esteem, first make sure you are not, in fact, surrounded by idiots. The madman is a waking dreamer. The whole family life is organized around the most damaged person in it. The mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its volume above water. If you aspire to find yourself, don't look in the mirror, because there you'll only find a shadow, a stranger. There is no starting point if you don't know where you're going. In every human being, there are desires which he would not want to communicate to others, and desires which he does not want to admit even to himself. One is the master of what one keeps silent, and a slave to what one says. The mind is a blank slate on which nothing is written. If you want to endure life, you must be prepared to accept death. Just as the rider must sometimes take the horse where it wants to go in order to stay on, so too does the ego often translate the will of the id into action as if it were its own. Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. The function of art in society is to build up, to reconstruct us when we are in danger of falling apart. Nature does nothing in vain, and among animals, man is the only one who possesses speech. One can defend against attacks, but against praise one is defenseless. To remember is the best way to forget. Just as no one can be forced to believe, no one can be forced not to believe. I prefer the company of animals more than humans. Surely a wild animal is cruel, but only humans in their civilized state can be ruthless. Being completely honest with oneself is a good exercise. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. Love is a temporary state of psychosis. There is little that gives children more pleasure than when an adult descends to their level, relinquishes their oppressive superiority, and plays with them as equals. If you want your wife to listen to you, talk to another woman. She'll be all ears. From error to error, one discovers the entire truth. Illusions are recommended to us because they save us from pain and allow us to enjoy pleasure instead. Only one's own personal experience leads a man to wisdom. The first human who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization. The good are content to dream what the wicked actually do. Lovers humble themselves. Those who love, so to speak, give up a part of their narcissism. Look deep into your own soul and learn first to know yourself. Then you will understand why this illness has overtaken you, and perhaps you will avoid falling ill in the future. Children's anxiety is nothing more than an expression of feeling the loss of the person they love. What we cannot remember, we will repeat. Maturity is the ability to delay gratification. In small matters, trust the mind. In big ones, trust the heart. Neurosis is the inability to tolerate ambiguity. Men are more moral than they think, and far more immoral than they can imagine. Without love, we fall ill. There are two ways to be happy in this life. One is to be a fool, the other is to be one. If inspiration doesn't come to me, I go halfway to meet it. Modern science has yet to produce a calming medicine as effective as a few kind words. What progress we have made. In the Middle Ages, they would have burned me. Now they are content with burning my books. We will all die, but our works will remain. Crystals reveal their hidden structures only when they are broken. The only person you need to compare yourself to is who you were in the past. The only person you need to be better than is who you are now. He who thinks he will fail has already failed before trying. He who thinks he will win is already one step ahead. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. History is just new people making old mistakes. When one does not have what one wants, one must want what one has. Here lies the great question I have yet to answer. Despite my years of research into the feminine soul, what does a woman want? Thinking is rehearsed action. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. I have been a fortunate man in life. Nothing has come easy. Those who lack sex talk about sex. The hungry talk about food. The poor talk about money. And our oligarchs and bankers talk about morality. Every joke, deep down, conceals a truth. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to the unconscious. I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection.